Okay, so welcome to Kelly Counts Macros podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Mosty, and today I'm joined by Cassie, mom of a toddler who works full-time, loves being with her family, and loves my hack of mixing her wine with Fresca. And today we're going to talk about cutting macros to stay in a consistent calorie deficit to lose weight, because we all know that consistency in a calorie deficit is what causes weight loss. So I want everybody to stay until the end. Cassie and I are going to share a brilliant hack of how she and the Clubhouse members stay consistent. So we will explain how she got there, giving you guys the specific details, the step-by-step approach to losing weight, to reveal defined muscles while eating pizza, drinking wine, and enjoying ice cream every single night. So she's going to tell us how she went from confusion and not enjoying life, having the all or nothing mentality, and just going from why bother even do anything at all because things aren't working, to now losing weight, to reveal toned muscles and actually feeling confident, feeling good in her clothes, lighter on her feet while she's running, enjoying food, enjoying desserts, happy hours with girlfriends, overnight trips with friends, vacation, wine tours with her hubby, and like we talked about, ice cream every single night, all while losing the weight that she wanted, along with 16 inches. So welcome to the podcast, Cassie.
I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
It is. So Cassie, before we dive in, let's go back to the beginning. What was your life like before you found Kelly Counts Macros? What were some of the things you were struggling with?
I feel like before I found Kelly Counts Macros, I had tried like everything. Like you name the diet, I had tried it. And then it kind of turned into this I need to be 100% every single day at all times. I was the girl that was like obsessed with clean eating, and I would skip like family dinners, or I would go to the family dinner and like not eat anything and then come home and make myself something later. I was eating the same thing every single day. So it was just like this very non-sustainable lifestyle that I was following, and it wasn't fun. I wasn't enjoying myself. Like it was just something I felt like I had to do. And the main parts, like as I think about reflecting before I found Kelly Counts Macros, the main thing that I really, really know that I was doing and I struggled with was severely under eating, one, and two, not getting enough protein most days. And so those two things combined consistently over the course of, days, weeks, months, was like not healthy for me. And that's kind of what sparked me to like reach out about this, because I knew with macros, there was a calories that were sustainable and healthy for me as an individual, but then also making sure I was eating enough protein. And I wanted to work with somebody directly to figure out that information, because you could go online very easily and type in information, but it's not catered to you as an individual, my lifestyle, my training plans. And so you could very easily do it incorrectly if you weren't working with somebody who is, supporting you, asking you the right questions and helping you determine it. So that the severely under eating and not eating enough protein was what was leading to not seeing any of the results that I wanted to see sustainably and consistently over time.
Right. So a lot of restricting, avoiding events, not eating at events, probably consuming a lot of your brain power, and then finally realizing that you can eat the foods that you enjoy, that you love, figure out what worked for you as far as your calorie deficit and the amount of protein, and navigating that, weekly with me having the accountability, because you could waste a lot of time, and a lot of people do, myself included, a long time ago, just Googling and getting more info and just getting more confused, really.
Exactly. Yes. There's a lot of information out there about it, but like, I'm not qualified to like navigate all of that information.
Yeah, right. Who is the good old big, huge Google?
Yeah.
All right. So let's make this path that we give the listeners crystal clear and simple. As you know, I like to kiss. Keep it stupid simple. Yes. So the definition of the word that we'll be using today is cutting. So Cassie was given cutting macros to lose weight to reveal toned muscles. So cutting macros is the process of setting and adhering to specific macro targets with the goal of achieving a calorie deficit to promote weight loss or fat loss. By consuming fewer calories than your body needs, cutting macros aims to facilitate weight loss over time, being consistent over time. Without the consistency, which is the magic pill, you will have slower progress and perhaps feel like a failure. So, by the way, this is why the consistency calendar that we use inside of Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse is the game changer for most. And Cassie can fill us in on that towards the end of the podcast. So let's dive into cutting macros and what that looked like for you, Cassie. So my advice was always to hit your protein and not go over on your calories. What made you successful with this $1 million tip?
For me, it was making a couple of things. It was making sure I wasn't hungry. I found very quickly, like I always knew that like having enough protein in your diet would, make you feel satiated. You wouldn't feel as hungry. But I was never eating enough protein, so I never really felt what that felt like. And so by eating enough protein, I wasn't like as hungry throughout the day. It was very easy to maintain. But when you think about the different macros, the carbs, fats, proteins, if you're focused on trying to hit all three of those numbers, like for me personally, that would be very overwhelming for me. I would have spent way too much time trying to make all the numbers hit zero at the end of the day. And it just would have been not something that like I mentally could sustain. But by really just making sure you're eating enough calories, eating the appropriate amount, and then the protein, it was just very easy for me to like make my meals throughout the day. Like, this is how much protein I need to have throughout the day. Make sure that is inputted correctly throughout all my meals in the app. And then whatever calories I have left over is kind of what I filter in with the other things, with the, with the ice cream, or, what sides am I having with my meals? And you can just kind of play with it and figure out what you're going to feed your family that day. And my plate looks very similar to my husband's plate. It has different quantities in it, maybe a little bit more vegetables, where his maybe has a little bit more protein, but we're eating the same things. It's just different quantities. So by narrowing the focus, it really helped it to not become overwhelming. It's very simple, and it just, I feel full throughout the day. I'm eating regular meals throughout the day. So it's just like very sustainable and very easy to do.
Right. Yeah, because trying to hit all three of those numbers perfectly every single day is just, that's hard to do. And nobody wants to use all of their brain power all the time trying to figure out what to eat. So just hitting your protein and hitting your calories keeps the scale moving, keeps you satisfied, and you can still eat the same meals that your family eats. Just your plate looks slightly different.
Yes, agreed.
Yes. So some of you may not know what macros are, so I'm just going to go over that real quick. So 1 gram of carbs equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So when I set Cassie's macros, the first thing I started with was the protein, okay? And I multiplied her goal weight by 0.9. So these macro targets biggie sized her success. It kept her satisfied. She was never mom hangry, as I like to say. When us moms get hangry, it's not a good thing. The scale moved down. We preserved all of her lean muscle mass. And now she has legs that her husband, I think he said, are insane. And abs that a post-pregnancy mom only dreams of. So I know next everybody's thinking, all the listeners are thinking, but Kelly, how do I know what my macros should be at to lose weight? So I have the perfect freebie. You can figure it out on your own. It's called How to Set Your Own Macros. I'll put the link in the show notes. Feel free to grab that so you aren't confused and wasting time not getting results. So Cassie, I also would like you to share how you thought of your day as quarters of a game. I thought it was very profound and a game changer. So
yeah. So before kind of going through all of this, I would take like the all or nothing mentality. Like if we were doing something for dinner that day, I would just be like, oh, well, whatever, it's not going to be perfect, so I might as well just eat whatever throughout the day, who cares. But then I started to kind of take the approach of like, well, just because you're having like one meal for lunch doesn't mean you wouldn't try. You say lunch is like the second quarter of your day, you wouldn't go about a game and throw away the last 2 quarters of a game. So that was very eye-opening to me. Like, just because you have one meal that maybe has a little bit more carbs or fats than you're used to having doesn't mean, you just throw caution to the wind and do whatever you want to do, because then you're not going to feel good the next day. And so just having that one meal, but then moving back to, eating things that are going to make you feel good, fuel you, keep you satiated, that will help you feel good the next day and help you continue to see progress, rather than just like throwing your hands up in the air and saying, whatever, who cares. So that's kind of how I like started to look at my days as I've been, going through this journey.
Yeah. And then you win the game and you feel good the next day.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And I love how you say, if you're playing a game, you're not just going to throw the last quarter or two out the window.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love how you thought of it that way. So now that you have lost the weight and have your toned muscles, what's your life look like now? How are things better?
I feel like everything's better, quite honestly. The main part for me, like why I started this to begin with, like I never really started this process to lose weight. I kind of started this process to like make sure I was eating enough food, make sure I was, getting like appropriate training in, because I'm training for a race. And so I never did it for the weight loss, but it's been a nice added bonus to my journey. The toned muscles has been a bonus to my journey, which has led to me feeling just like more confident in myself, which is an awesome thing to have as a mom that like you just never really think about. I'm definitely training better for the race. Like I've PR'd, 5K, 10K times on my running. I've noticed I've just been sleeping a lot better. My skin's clearer and brighter. I'm just like happier, enjoying life. Things just are simpler. It's just like, and I know we'll talk about the calendar, but like when you look at your month, it's just being more planful. And like I'm a planner, so this is my jam. So just like taking a look at the month and being like, okay, well, what are the things that we have? And it's easier. Like everything, like I said, everything is truly just better. Like I'm eating enough food. I'm not hangry. Like before I started this, my husband was like, oh gosh, like she's gonna like not be eating food again, and she's going to be like hangry, but like I haven't felt hangry like at all throughout this journey, because I mean, in order to get enough protein in and to get enough calories in, like you have to eat, like you have to eat throughout the day. And so I eat, breakfast, I eat lunch, I eat a snack, I eat dinner, and I eat dessert every single night. And that in and of itself, like it just keeps you consistently fueled throughout the day. And that just makes you feel good. And then you wake up in the morning and you feel good and you continue to feel good. So it's just been nice. But also, like, I'm just enjoying life. Like, I'm enjoying going to wineries with my husband. I'm enjoying getting ice cream with Noah. I'm enjoying dinners at restaurants with families and friends. And still, for the most part, I can go to a restaurant and still remain within my macros. And it's nice. But then there are days that I don't have to pay attention to my macros as much. Like I can go on a weekend trip or something with friends and I don't have to track that day. Like it's okay if I don't. And that was the mind-blowing part, is like when you look at the results that I'm seeing, those results, there were days I didn't track mixed in there, and like that's okay. And I take that as like a huge win, because you don't have to be 100% consistent to be successful.
Right. You don't have to be perfect. You remove the all or nothing mentality, and it sounds like everything's better.
Yeah.
From your mood to your confidence to how your husband feels.
Yeah.
Yes. And to feel, not restricted and be able to do what you want, eat what you want. Yes. And that's why it's sustainable, because that yo-yo that everybody goes through all the time, that vicious cycle, you've crushed it. That's gone. You never have to worry about that again.
Right. Yes, 100%.
So what are you excited for coming up in the clubhouse, in Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse?
I love the weekly recipes that Kelly sends. Those are awesome. So I love those. I also love the check-ins with Kelly. Those are very nice. I'm a very big like accountability person. So like I know every Thursday I'm going to check in with Kelly and say, hey, this is what I've got going on. Like, this is where I'm at. That's been really helpful. But also like Kelly does different like challenges throughout the months in the clubhouse. And like, those are just fun for me to do. It just like keeps things fun and interesting and exciting. But there's also like people cheering each other on within the clubhouse too. So I just like look forward to the challenges, because it's just like something new and fresh, and I love a good challenge. And so that's why those are like right up my alley, because if you give me a challenge, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go do this and we're gonna be successful. So those are like my favorite parts about the clubhouse.
Yeah, the recipes are so good, family friendly, super easy, because I like to keep it easy. The accountability on the Thursday check-ins are huge. Everybody needs and wants accountability. You can only hold on for so long by yourself, maybe only 2, 3, 4 days before you feel like you need that accountability. Yeah. And the support that's in there, the community and the love that you feel, is huge. And of course, a lot of us are into challenge. So it just keeps the momentum going, keeps it fresh. There's almost a new one every month. So that in itself just keeps you rolling, keeps you motivated, variety, and you're not bored. Yeah. So what is one tip or hack that you would like to share regarding counting macros?
Well, we already said the Fresca and wine is a game changer. I absolutely love that. But the other thing that I have found to just be a super easy hack is like finding very easy protein options that aren't like, if you don't like chicken, don't eat chicken. Like, there's so many different things out there, like finding those easy protein options and having different options on hand makes it very easy. Like pre-shredded rotisserie chicken from Walmart, very easy. We always have that in our house. Like, you can get like pulled pork, throw some, low calorie barbecue sauce on it, and you have meals for the week. Like going to Sam's and getting salmon burgers or chicken burgers and having those in your freezer. Like those tips and tricks of like different grocery hauls in the clubhouse have been really helpful in just like finding those easy protein options and then buying them. And I have all these different options on hand where it's just like, all right, what are we going to have for dinner today? My husband picks a protein source, and then I kind of just like fill in the gaps with like what sides are we having based off of like whatever protein source we have. So the easier the protein option for me, the better.
Yeah. Yep. Just having them available. And I love that you ask him what protein he wants. So it's not all about what you're eating all the time. Yeah. And then you make that and then the sides, and it's so simple. Sometimes people feel overwhelmed with meal prep, but it's really, as long as you have the protein available, it's so doable and it's simple.
Yes, agreed.
So how do you fit in your dessert every single day? I think people are asking.
I just pre-track it every single day. Like as a mom, it's very important for me to like have something at night before I go to bed that like I don't have to like scarf down, or I don't have to like share with my tiny human. Like it's just like something I look forward to at the end of the day. And so I just pre-track it. It's like one of the first things that I track when I go into my app to figure out what am I going to eat the next day or today, whenever I get around to doing it. But I just throw it in there. And I've found that the easiest way to do it is I get like the little single serve ice cream cups from Walmart. And it's just very easy that like, I don't even have to like measure anything or scoop anything out. Like I just pull one of the ice creams out of the freezer and eat it. But it's like the first thing that I put into my meal tracker. And then I just kind of fill in the gaps from there with the food that I'm eating throughout the day and the different meals. But yeah, that just gets tracked first thing. And it's just something I do every day.
Yeah. So the second $1 million tip, right? Pre-track.
Yeah.
Pre-track your desserts, your wines, your meal out, all of the things. Yeah.
Yes.
So we promised the listeners in the beginning of the podcast. So here it is. How do you use that calendar inside of Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse to keep you consistent?
So I'm a planner. So this is like right up my alley, but I take the calendar and look at the different things that I know we're doing throughout the month. So what are the days that like friends are coming into town, family birthdays, what are the different things that we're going to do? And I mark those down on the calendar. And when you look at, July is the month we're in right now, there's 31 days in July. To be considered consistent is at least 80% consistent. That's 6 days in a month that you don't have to, absolutely 100% stick to the macros. Those are days that like you can, maybe just be mindful while you're eating and not have to like plan in the app what you're eating specifically. And you can kind of just like go be present. That's like a lot of days. Like I have mine filled out right now, and there's 3 days that in the month that I was just like, I don't want to focus on macros. Like, but there are birthdays in there where my mom's birthday is tomorrow, and she said where we're going for dinner. I already know like what I'm going to order that day, and I'm still going to remain within my macros. So like, I just focus on like what events is maybe like a picnic or something where it's a little bit more difficult for me to track like what I'm eating. And I just mark those down as days that like, it's probably not going to be perfect that day, and that's okay. and you just move on. But like the calendar really helps you see the visual of like, you don't have to be perfect all the time. You just have to be consistent. So you have to have more days where you are consistent than when you're not. And, you know, trying not to have 2 days in a row where you're not consistent. It's just like a very nice visual. And then again, by posting it within the clubhouse, we're all holding each other accountable to say, like, this is what my calendar looks like. This is what I'm going to do. So it's just like a very easy, simple way to like hold yourself accountable for, you know, staying on track when you can and when you want to.
Right. Yeah. And I love the part that you look ahead and you know how many days that you have, that you can be a little bit more lenient, and you figure it out. And the visual, and then along with posting it in the clubhouse, hold you accountable. So this has been a game changer for so many people. And it seems so simple that it's just a calendar, but when Cassie explains it, it all makes sense. And that's exactly what I want for my clubhouse members, is to be consistent, because that's how you get the results that you want.
Yeah.
So if someone is on the fence about joining the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse membership, what would you tell them?
I would say just do it. Accountability is huge. It's been key, but I also think there's something to be said about like being surrounded by like-minded people, being surrounded by people who are also going through some of the same struggles as you. So like everyone's sharing wins and tips with each other. So like the wins are being shared and we're all cheering each other on. But then there's also like tips being shared of like, hey, this is, you know, what I'm cooking for dinner today. Like I found this at the grocery store. It was really easy and I really liked it. It's just like a really great community of like people lifting each other up, sharing, you know, wins and sharing, you know, tips and tricks with each other. And so you just learn more throughout being around these other people. So it's just fun, and it's just, it keeps this journey like interesting, exciting, and fun. And so, I mean, might as well give it a shot, right? So it's
great.
Just do it.
Yes, I know. Just get started. You know, it's a fun, it's safe. There's accountability. There's so much inside of it that you won't be able to recognize until you actually get in. And
yeah.
When you're surrounded by like-minded people, it's almost like there's no failure.
Yeah.
There's just not going to be. So
yeah.
Good. So if you haven't joined the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse membership yet, we'd love to have you join. You can just go to kellycountsmacros.com to get on our early bird wait list. It's open to the public in June, usually each year. So we cannot wait to have you join us. But thank you again for joining us, Cassie. You're amazing. You crush it, and you're a true inspiration.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.